Okay, let's try this. This is the next section of math we're going to be going on to. It's going to be called Reteaching 8-9b. Okay, this deals with surface area for triangular prisms. Okay, you already know pretty much how to get the volume of the triangular prism and the cylinder and the rectangular prisms. That's basically where you're finding the area of the base and multiplying by the height of the shape, and you're done. Now, as we explained in the previous video for surface areas for cubes and rectangular prisms, you find the area of each one of the faces, that's the flat surface, and then from that point, you add them all together. Now, with a rectangular prism, you've got 6 sides, okay? With a cube, you've got 6 sides. Now, a triangular prism is slightly different. So some of you wondering what page this actually is. Let me bring this up really close to you. Okay, this is the assignment. I'm actually given an example, modeling number 1 right there. Now, on the board behind me is what I've tried to, with my pathetic, weak, meager artistic skills, reproduce that little shape for you. I'm going to run through how to figure out the surface area for the triangular prism. Simple version. You do the same thing you do with the rectangular prisms and the cubes. You find the area of each one of the faces and you add it up. The only trick is visualizing some of the three-dimensional prisms can be a bit tough for some people. Now, if I'm looking at this, the top is a triangle, the bottom is a triangle, and then the 3 other sides around it are rectangles. The height, or thickness in this case, of the whole prism is 3.8. Now that means if I pull this prism apart a little bit, I get something like this. Let's say I take the front of the prism off. I have a rectangle along the front of it. According to the measurements it gives me, it says that it's 3.8 on this side, and it says it's 9.8 along this side. Now you know in order to find the area of a rectangle, it's simply length times width. So you go 3.8 times 9.8, that gives you your answer for that particular part of it, okay? So let's actually do that. We'll simplify it, make it a little quicker for some of you. This is an example off your homework at one point, but this can help. 3.8 times 9.8. Real basic, 37.24. All right? So 37.24. Now I'm doing kind of a long visual form of this, okay, to kind of break down how to work through it. You can, of course, do some of this in your head. I mean, if you're a very visual spatial person, you can keep track of these things in your head and just write them down as you go and then total it up and you're finished. For the first time through, though, sometimes you might want to see a little bit of the pieces as they come apart, okay? Particularly if you're not a real visual spatial person. Not everybody has that trick going on for them. Okay, now, if I've done the front and taken that off, I'm going to look at the left-hand side and the right-hand side now. Now, the left-hand side, if I pulled off that, I essentially have another rectangle, okay? And it's going to be 6.2 along the long side here. And it's going to be, again, 3.8 along the height. Okay? So just like we've done before, you take 6.2 times 3.8, and you come up with 23.56. Now, I'm kind of putting this information in each one of these boxes here as I pull them apart. Right-hand side, I'm going to pull off that rectangle now. Okay? Again, 3.8 on the short side, and then it's going to be 8.5. So again, length times width, 3.8 times 8.5, and I'm getting 32.3. Okay, I'm almost done. I have all the pieces of the rectangles, but I still need the top, which is a triangle, and the bottom, which is a triangle. Now, if you do remember, the formula for the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So, area of the triangle equals base times height divided by 2. Don't forget to divide by 2, otherwise you're going to come up with something like a rectangle. So you need to cut it up a little bit. So I look at the top part of this. All right, I've got a triangle, and I'm going to be looking at something different on this. Now, my base, in this case, is going to be 9.8. Okay? My height is inside here, and it's a dotted line that goes from the peak down to there, and that's going to be 5.33. Now, of course, I'm going to divide it all by 2. Okay, so you jump right ahead to it. 9.8, gotcha, times 5.33, gotcha, divided by 2, comes up with 26.117. Okay, now, this is the area for one of the triangles. Now, there's kind of a trick I can throw in here. Since there's a triangle on top and a triangle on bottom, that means I could probably shortcut it and not divide by 2. But, for the purposes of breaking this down step by step, that's what I'm going to do. I have one rectangle on the left side. I have one rectangle on the right side. I have the front rectangle here. Now I've taken care of the top triangle and the bottom triangle. Now, the top triangle and the bottom triangle are identical. We know it's 9.8 along there, and under the height is 5.33. The 6 problems on this page, the triangles are facing in different directions. So the really tricky part is not the math, it's interpreting the measurements on the prism themselves. Now, if I figure out the area for this, which I did over here, all right, and then I have another triangle on top, which would also be the same area as that. So my total that I have to come up with the whole thing would be the following, and this is where it gets to be kind of a grind. The math is simple, but it's laborious, okay? 23.56 for here, 37.24 for there, 32.3 for that one, and then of course I have 2 of 26.117. Now when I said there's 2 of them, because it's a top triangle and a bottom triangle, that's why I said I could have just skipped the dividing by 2, because I'd have to double it anyway. But I wanted to walk you through each step. So here's what I've done. I've looked at my triangle, my prism. I've pulled apart each piece and found the area for each one of those pieces. Then I put it all back together again and total up the area for each one of the faces that I've calculated. Once I calculate that, that will give me my final answer. I'm not going to calculate that right now. This is part of the homework assignment you'll be having will be getting posted. Now, we're going to be wrapping up Chapter 8 shortly, but it will be finishing up with some more prisms, some more surface area, and we'll probably have a test or a quiz on that. That'll be a little bit in the future, maybe next weekish. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking at posting some block times for math for people to do Zoom with me if they have any questions. That's still kind of flexible depending on the schedules of the other teachers. For right now, this is Reteaching 8-9B, okay? There's only 6 problems on it. If you have any questions, as always, email me. And if you managed to make it this far, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.